Yeah.
Now we are live on Facebook. Oh, yes. Good. Yes, now we are live on Facebook. Good afternoon, my dear friends. Now, hey, my dear friends on Facebook, I trust you are here already. You are here already. I have a special guest with me in the house, and I just wanted I wanted him to say hello to you all briefly. I'm setting up, we're also going live now on Instagram. We're going live on Instagram. The editor of the Boss newspaper is calling. Mr. Editor, please, I will call you back. I will call you back. I have some guests. I will call you back, Eric, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we're live also on Instagram. Yes, I have with me in my office now, my home office, Uncle Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. You will see his face in 1 second, and he will say hello to you. Yes, please. Okay. Yes, that's my special guest in the house. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Dele, and good afternoon, all the friends of Dele Momodu across the world. Good afternoon.
Yes, could you kindly introduce yourself to us, sir?
Thank you. My name is Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. I trained as a pharmacist, but I grew up through the business world. I did a 33-year career in the industry, in the pharmaceutical industry. I was CEO for 18 years, Pfizer and Nimet, and I've been involved in advocacy, chairman of Nigeria Economic Summit Group, president of NECA, chairman, Nigeria American Chamber of Commerce. I've been involved in trying to fashion all kinds of strategies to take Nigeria out of its economic doldrums over many years.
Oh, fantastic. So, I know you have been into advocacy over time. Could you tell us some of the things you have been doing?
Well, we've been involved. If you remember that after the second or third coming of the military, we began to work like we were becoming a pariah nation, doing things that were negative to what the global standards demanded. We are closing our country. We are getting government involvement beyond the levels, and that was bringing down economy. So through the auspices of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, we began to preach liberalization, economic liberalization, economic decentralization, commercialization, so that we can bring the private sector to support government, and then we'll also work along the global best standards. We begin to talk about we began to talk using the Economic Summit Group, NECA, the organized private sector, to begin to deal with issues of Nigeria's lack of global competitiveness, because we became a nation of consumers, a nation that was dependent on others, whereas we have the capacity to provide for West Africa and Africa indeed. So these are the kind of things we led us to begin to fashion out Vision 2010, Vision 2020, and all other economic blueprints to make Nigeria globally competitive, to make us a preferred investment country, because we know that without investment, our economy cannot recover. Investments create businesses, Businesses create jobs, jobs create wealth, wealth drives away poverty. And as long as we do not understand how investment is created, as long as we're not an investment-friendly country, will not have the investment coming, including both domestic, even Nigerians, diasporans. They will take the investments out of the country, and that's what we're seeing. I just read a report that last year we suffered about 59% depreciation in foreign investment, and that was the previous year had been a decline. So as long as we continue to work in that way, we'll continue to erode our economy. And when you look at the high inflation that we have, look at the depreciation of the naira. These are the things that we've been speaking about. How can we strengthen our naira? How can we strengthen our economy so that it will be more productive? Because the more productive it is, the more wealth it creates, and the wealth is shared. Our gross domestic per capita income will grow, and standard of living will expand for our nation. So these are the kind of things we've been speaking about through MAN, through Economic Summit, Nigeria American Chamber, of course, private sector organizations, and even when I had the opportunity to support government in advisory capacities, these were the things we spoke. I was in President Yeredua's Presidential Steering Committee on the Global Economic Crisis, 2010-2010, and these were the things we were telling him. We need to run a globally competitive country. We cannot define the rules for the world. There are rules for global competitiveness, there's room for economic empowerment, there's room for social development, there's room for infrastructure development. Our country is underperforming, and part of the reason we're underperforming is we are not allowing the right people come to the right positions. We've been putting square pegs in round holes, and it just hasn't worked. And that's where we are in the situation we are. I've not stopped advocacy, but now I'm being encouraged that rather than advocate, write books, write newspaper articles like Dele, my brother. We want to come and be involved in pushing the umbrella to see how we can get action and make Nigeria globally competitive, make it the kind of country we enjoyed as young people, where we had jobs, we had cars, both from car loan and from our companies, where we could afford to meet our needs. If we do not do so, the future of our youth is in peril. The future of our children and grandchildren will be in peril. And so we want to go beyond advocacy, Dele, to follow you, what you've said, the part you've said, to say, let's see how we can implement these things that we're writing, which nobody seems to be listening to.
Now, I don't know where you're getting your optimism from. A lot of people, especially from your part of Nigeria, you are from Abia State. A lot of people have virtually given up on Nigeria as an entity.
Yeah.
So why do you still believe in Nigeria, and what do you think Nigeria would offer you?
Well, you see, most of the people from my place and my area who are tired with Nigeria is because they are looking for a country where there's equity, where there's justice, where there's fair play, where there's love, where there's friendship and good neighborliness, where life is secure, where the opportunity to do business is unhindered, where government can be supportive to private investment and private sector participation, where a young man born anywhere can compete with another man born anywhere in the country, where you can live in the north, in the south, in the west without hindrance. That's what my people do. They travel all over Nigeria and they establish their businesses, they establish their investment, they marry wives, they give their children out to marriage, they build houses, they make their home, and they want safety, they want peace. I'm telling them that that country is possible. The problem is that our country has been blessed with everything that they wanted except human beings at the leadership point who can take the bull by the horn and establish a country where nobody is oppressed. The guys who wrote our national anthems many years ago wrote about a country where nobody is oppressed, a country where people live in harmony, in peace, and in unity. For whatever reasons I do not know, we have had the opposite happening. Every day the country is being divided, every day the divisions are being enhanced, and we have got to the point where life has become cheap and brutish. We have come to the point where poverty has become so pervading. We have come to the point where corruption is no longer controlled. And my people are looking for a country where there will be where corruption will be held in check, where there will be justice, because it's injustice that causes insecurity. Today you have a high level of insecurity in our country. Daily check. Behind that level of insecurity is injustice. People are feeling offended, they are feeling maligned, they are feeling discriminated against, they are feeling that they are misjudged, and they are being treated like either they are second class or they don't count. They now want to see the only way to count is to take arms against the nation. We believe that if God grants us the opportunity to bring these things down and cause that we establish a transparent, godly, God-fearing nation where everybody puts his hands open and declares what he has, and we can share them in a proportionate manner that is related, first, that we're equal citizens in this country, and secondly, that the more, like in the corporate organization, the more you put, the more you get. And so we can instigate young men with ambition, young men with creativity and innovation to spike up and harness their potentials, and they get governmental support. Governmental support mustn't be in money. It should just be in providing policy alternatives, in encouragement and in empowerment, so that people can express themselves. People like you have done well, and so many other people, young men, are looking onto you. We want to use you as model and example. Everywhere I go, I speak about the Dangotes of this country. I speak about Tony Lumedus of this country. I think about Adenugas of this country. These are individual Nigerians that have beaten all the odds and have shown that through entrepreneurship, you can build wealth, empower yourself, and empower others. Why can't we create a lot more of such people? Just by government giving the same encouragement they might have given to one or two people, give it to a few more, so that north, south, east, west can feel that they belong to this country and that they are not only treated fairly and equally, but that their place in the country is recognized and rewarded.
My very dear Mazi, I'm reading a lot of the comments there, and they are saying it's Biafra or Biafra or Biafra. What do you say to that?
What I'm telling them is that Biafra is not necessarily a geographical expression. I fought in the Biafra army. I'm an ex-Biafran soldier. But I believe that what we're looking for is a nation where there's equity, justice, and fair play. My point is that we can make Nigeria that nation. That nation they're looking for, Nigeria can become it. That's, for me, that's the issue. Geographical location of Biafra is only a necessity. It's when all other options fail. But if the other options, which means we can live together as people of the same nation, bringing our strengths and our weaknesses together, and we can leverage. There's a lot to gain as a nation, a populous nation. There's a lot to gain as a major opportunity for investments, both external and internal. There's a lot to gain as a major play in Africa. Global politics strength is one of the strengths is population. One of the other strengths is what you bring on the table. And every state in Nigeria, every region is blessed agriculturally, solid mineral. We can pull all that together and become a great nation. Look at America. America is 300 million people, and they are able to become a force. Look at the size of Russia. If we ever want to be a global power, we don't want to be an autonomous little country. We want a big country.
Yes, all these are ideal, sir.
Yes.
Mazi, these things are ideal. So what if some people stop you from realizing those ideals? What will you do?
The reason I believe that they will try but they will fail is that the level of consciousness we have achieved in Nigeria today is beyond what we have ever achieved before. Nobody in this country believes that some youths who mounted the NSAS campaign without proper leadership and funding could sustain it. Everybody said nobody can do that in 1 week. They did it 2, 3, 4 weeks. That gave me hope that we're getting to the point where the messages people like you are sending are getting home. That this peribendal politics of share money, and every year we'll get a recycling of the same people who tell us stories. They write manifestos, they deny their manifesto. They make promises, they fail. And there's even no apology. They don't even recognize that they have failed. We Nigerians of all calibers are beginning to understand that what will help us achieve this is a meaningful, detribalized, visionary, entrepreneurial, focused leadership. That is what will help us to beat those guys who don't want change. And if we have the larger population, and through the larger population we can raise the enabling resource base to counter them. The time to change Nigeria has come, and I'm hoping that both the young, the old, the adult will put together so that we can get a country that we need, a country that we desire. We can't franchise this out to them. They don't love this country more than us. They don't own this country more than us. Every one of us is a stakeholder. And I'm inviting you and inviting all those who are listening to me today. Let's band it together as a new Nigeria group and take our country back. It's a country blessed of God, and we cannot let forces of darkness and wickedness continue to push us out, and we're bystanders and we undermine ourselves and we look like we're second-class citizens. You travel very well, Dele, and they're asking you, do you have people like you in this country? And your country, if you look at every area of human index, every human indices, we are below. Everywhere you do comparative analysis, is it in economy, is it in social well-being, is it in health statistics, we are below. And I'm saying this cannot continue, because it's becoming a very embarrassing. You are an international person. I don't know the passports you carry, but I carry only green passport. I don't have any other passport. And everywhere I go, the minute they see me, I become a suspect. If I'm not a drug peddler, I'm a 419 person, I'm a Yahoo man, I am all that kind of thing. How can I live with that all my life?
90% of your listeners are saying it is too late and that the Nigeria of your dream is not possible.
It is possible. You know, the thing is this, sir, you know that every kingdom rises and falls. Every thread fades. Every fad ceases. There is a day that everything ends. NAFDAC calls the expiry date. Every product has an expiry date. I want to tell you that the old Nigeria date is about now. A new Nigeria is about to spring forth. So I can understand those who are conditioned by disappointments of the past, by the failures of the past, not to see a future that is possible. But I want you to buy my enthusiasm. It's not based on just mere wish, but it's based on the fact that I've heard the young people. I've seen the young people. I've seen the not so old. I've seen the elderly people. We're all united. The military, the civilian, that this country needs true change. This is the time. It's not the melted change that comes to naught. They need a change. And because of that, because of the human spirit that changes things. When we used to do chemistry in the secondary school, we used to do what we call titration, acid against base. As you are titrating the acid against base, the liquid becomes cloudy, and it remains cloudy till you drop one point, called the last point. One drop, the liquid becomes colorless, and immediately the experiment ends. That experiment is not reversible. I am telling your listeners that we're at that point, at that end point. One more drop, Nigeria will be colorless, and it will be plain that a new country is emerging. It requires faith and belief in our ability. When people speak this way, I don't blame them, because I used to speak that way. We give up, but we cannot give up on our country. God set all of us for a purpose, and everybody has a role to redeem this country and make it that country we want it to be.
Okay, could you kindly tell me about your days at Pfizer? Because now Pfizer is in the news because of the vaccine and everything, and you must be proud at some point. Can you tell me how you rose?
I joined Pfizer in 1978, 17th of July. By May 1980, I started in Bendel. I was in Benin. I was in charge of Bendel on those territories then. In less than 2 years, I became an area manager. I was moved from Benin to come and salvage Lagos. I came to Lagos in 1980. Between 1982, when I took the performance of Lagos to the highest level against every other area. There were 4 areas in the country: East, West, North, and East. We have East, West, and Lagos. So Lagos overtook the country, and they say, was this a fluke, or I just came to reap the effort of somebody else? There was an argument in management. They said, okay, the way to prove whether this is due to my effort, they should move me to another area. They pushed me to the East in Aba. 1981, 1 year. Between 81 and 82, I turned Aba around to the East. The East began to lead the whole country. Then they said, it's true, this is not a fluke. This guy is working hard. So in 82 November, they brought me from Aba back to Lagos as National Sales Manager. You've done this in Bendel, you've done it in Lagos, you've done it in the East. Come and do it nationally. I became National Sales Manager in 1983. 85, they say you've done it for pharmaceutical business, come and do it for animal health. So I became Group Sales Manager, Pharmaceutical and Animal Health. It's okay. 1989, be a marketing manager, so you get the marketing side. 1990, I was taken to Columbia University by Pfizer for exposure and international management, organizational management. I came back to Lagos. I was appointed a farm deal director. 1990. 1992, I became deputy managing director. 1993, I became CEO, and I became managing director, CEO. 1994, I became chairman, CEO, and regional manager for West Africa. And I ran Pfizer from 1993, especially during the period of political turmoil in this country, when there was crisis because of the denial of Abiola's election. His victory was denied. So there was problem. Pfizer began to worry this country was going to fall apart. They began to threaten to leave. But in order to persuade them not to leave, we were producing results that belied the political situation in the market. If you see our results, you could not believe they were being produced in a market with that kind of political economic turmoil. We worked ourselves out. But in 1997, Pfizer said they want to divest because they are building new businesses and they didn't want small markets. And they asked me to lead a management buyout. As I told you here, I led the management, we bought out Pfizer and paid them off. And they went back to their country, and we changed the company from Pfizer to Nimet. From a multinational, became a mononational. And I worked the company to 2011 and built it up into a medium-sized R&D based Nigerian company, and I retired and went into other issues related to how do we make our country better, how do we make it better for the people of coming after us. That has been my mission since I left.
Wow. So now, those of you who still believe in Nigeria, so because, as I said, there are those who don't. So those of you who still believe in Nigeria, do you think in your lifetime there will be an Igbo president? How will it happen?
Well, you see, if you listen to what have been said, there was a time when some of our brothers in the north said, the presidency must remain in the north. But their voices are going down. If you look around the whole country, look at your voice that just came up. Nobody knew you had that voice. So many other people have been saying that for equity, for fair play, to bring unity to Nigeria, to completely erase the hangover of the Nigeria-Biafra war, or the Nigerian civil war. Let's allow the Southeast to produce a president, and that will bring total healing. So I think it's becoming popular. Secondly, people are saying that if you look at the context of Nigeria, today it's somebody from the Southeast that represents the greatest desire for a united country, a peaceful country. Why is it seen? Is that they are the people who travel more than others. They are the people who trade all over the country. They are people who invest every part of the nation. And so it is believed that if they are given an opportunity, they create a country that is conducive for trade, conducive for business, conducive for everybody living where he wants to live to prosper. Because that's what people in the Southeast desire. Our culture shows individual efforts. Our culture says communal cooperation to produce bigger results for the country, for the community. I went to school with a community scholarship. That's many people went to school in the East with community scholarship, where the community contributes to train the son of another person. I know you had such kind of experience, if I remember your story. So I think that this is what I see is happening. And people are beginning to see there are groups, the Southeast for President movements all over the place, and they are making the right noises, and men of conscience in Nigeria are beginning to believe that this is right. How will it happen? It will happen if good people from the Southeast show up. Because I'm not sure Nigeria will allow some of this, with due modesty, there are some people that have been given opportunities before, either to run their states or to run certain departments in Nigeria in government, and they have not shown that they can do better. Some of them have shown that they were predators, that they were hirelings who ate the sheep that were kept in their care. So I don't think Nigerians want those kind of people who have been proven. Some of them have been known to be miscreants or mischievous or maleficent kind of character. So the Nigeria is looking for people from the Southeast with competence, with character, so that they can trust this leadership of this nation to them. And the way it will come is by people, imagine, who have these competencies and characters and courage that can compete. As I tell people, when I became chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, it wasn't because I was Igbo. When I became president of Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, it wasn't because I was Igbo. Even when I became chairman of Nigeria American Chamber, it wasn't because I was Igbo. It was irrespective. When I became CEO of Pfizer, it wasn't because I was Igbo. It was just I was a competent Nigerian who they could trust to lead the country, to lead the company, or to lead the group. And I believe now, if we're looking for competent Nigerians with character, some of us have placed ourselves at the for Nigerians to use. If you wish, if it's something you want to try, please try us. We're willing, looking at where we're coming from, to stand up and defend our nation.
Wow. You said you were in the Biafra army.
I was.
You were in the Biafra. What was your rank then?
I ended up as a lieutenant. I was a lieutenant. And this is the sign of the war. I got a bullet. I would have died. I got the bullet December 69. This bullet was extracted in 1971, almost 1 year after the war, because we got the wound just the last stage. So I've written a book called Port Harcourt Volunteer, Experiences of a Young Biafran Army Combatant. And I wrote my experience. And my last chapter is that we must not allow this to happen again. I gave some recommendations on what will prevent this from happening. It's the last chapter in that book. And that, I believe, if we ever paid attention to them, will avert the war, another crisis in this nation.
It has been said that no country can survive 2 civil wars. As a former military man, what do you say?
I agree with those people. I agree, because if you were, I mean, we're not talking about 3 million people that died. I'm talking about lives that were certified, destinies that were changed. You needed to see, I mean, if you still pass through certain parts of the East, like Oji River, you still see some amputees and people begging for arms who came from the war. We see how lives, I mean, I should have graduated 3 or 4 years before I did. I lost 4 years. I would have died in the war, and probably I won't have the opportunity to know you or even be able to speak to the very distinguished people I'm talking to on these platforms. I wouldn't want that to happen to my enemy, not talk of my children. So anybody thinking about another war, unless it's inevitable, unless it is forced, because there's nothing a man can do. If they push you, run to your house, and they come to kill in your house, you must get up and defend yourself. You might end up saying it's war, but otherwise, nobody should do anything to instigate war in this country. War is a very dangerous thing to experience, and I don't hope that any of you listening to me will experience it. I survived by the divine intervention. I thought I was dead at some point, but God kept me alive. So please, Nigerians, let's work together as a nation. God has put us here together. It's not by our choice. Nobody chose to belong to Nigeria. But we found ourselves in Nigeria. If God did not permit it, it would not have happened. No matter what we talk about Lugard or whoever with names we call, if God said it wasn't going to happen, it's not going to happen. If God wanted this country to separate, we'll have separated by now. We have done enough to bring this country to pure disintegration. But each time we got to the cliff, God brought us back. There's a purpose. He wants Nigeria to lead Africa. He wants Nigeria to be pride of Africa, to lead the renaissance of Africa, to make Africa a global continent that will not be related to all things that are poor, all things that are evil, all things that are low. Nigeria will instigate. Even people who tell you, who are spiritual, will tell you that Nigeria is going to lead even spiritual renaissance in the world. So there are many things God has prepared for this nation. And that's why Satan is fighting us to break us up, to cause confusion. Go to Kano market. I went to Kano recently. Go to the market, you see the Igbo, you see the Hausa, you see the Ibira, you see the Edo, you see the Nukwe. They're all sitting together and living their lives, trading with each other, exchanging money, borrowing from each other and paying back. And then you can see the division. But when the elites, for whatever reasons, to either grab power or to feel their incompetence, they tried to begin to put wedges between Nigerians, and we start complaining. Dele, me and you just told me about people who work for you. You don't even know. Some are from Akwa Ibom, some are from Abia. Because you are, I mean, those things don't count with you. You trust in your competence and you employ people on merit. Someday Nigeria will be like that, by the grace of God.
Well, I'm seeing my very dear friend and brother and colleague, Azu Arinze. He said he has interviewed you before, that You are very, very sound, and I agree with him. Good afternoon. He is one of my favorite publishers, Azu Arinze. So how are you, Azu? So I've delivered your message to our big Oga. Now let's talk about one question. I put this to Mazi Sam when I interviewed him some months ago. Is it possible for us to have a Biafra without fighting a war?
Yes, it is possible. In fact, look, when the war ended, I said that God, who is the man who knows about this country, that if we wanted that country to be Biafra at the time, would have been. After 3 years resistance and paid with our blood and breath and everything that we had, and we in the Southeast believe in God. I'm not saying others don't believe, but if there's a group, as a bloc that believes in God and intervention, the people from the East do believe. And if after all that we suffered, after all the pain, after all the injustice, God still allowed us to lose the war, it just means that God didn't want us to separate. That's my belief. That's my Christian belief. Because you can't tell me that God is powerless. God is powerful. But his ways are not the ways of man. What he wants to do, he wants to do. Russia was a conglomeration. The Soviet Union was a conglomeration of countries. But when time came, they separated into different countries. And it was bloodless. There was no battle. They didn't fight any war. So, if it is the will of God, one, if it's the will of the people, because I believe that should there be any need for any separation in this country, it can be agreed sitting on a table where all of us will see the benefits of doing it or not doing it. It shouldn't be forced on us by necessity or war. It could be a strategic decision by the owners of the country at some point and say, for whatever reason, we have decided to do this and that. That would be a decision. And that is the way, if ever there will be Biafra, it will happen by a natural agreement between the people that constitute this country called nation. It will not come by war. That's my thinking.
Are you worried that the Igbos will lose a lot? Because the Igbos are the only ones who have invested in every part of Nigeria. If I don't know of any other race in this country that has invested everywhere. If tomorrow, I pray that this is averted, this cup will pass over us.
Yeah.
And they ask the Igbos to go back home, what do you think the Igbos stand to lose?
If they ask us to go back
home, yes. If, for example, the people in Kano say, okay, you are chasing us out of Abia, you are chasing us out of Ebonyi, you are chasing us out of Anambra, you are chasing out of Imo, you are chasing us, out of Enugu and everywhere. And they say, okay, so you two, we will chase you. So what scenario? Can you paint a scenario?
It's not going to be a pleasant scenario for the Igbo. It will not be. First of all, the geographical space that is presently called the Southeast will have problem containing the size of the Igbo people that live across Nigeria. Number two, the amount of investments the Igbo have made. People have been surprised that after the 1990, when the war ended, when the Igbo was defranchised, you only got 20 pounds, no matter how much money you had. That's if you had the money in the bank, and majority didn't even have money. And yet, they have come from that level to make some of the impacts you just spoken about. It will be disaster for them to leave those things and start going back. Are they going to go back and start afresh and start building? Where is the market? The Igbo have been successful because they have exploited markets in Nigeria and markets in West Africa. If we put them in one place where they're buying and selling among themselves, the economic well-being will be imperiled. People are able to succeed because they produce and sell to other people. And if you produce and sell to yourself, you won't be able to make much progress. So, and the Igbo is gregarious, they are adventurous, they are forward-looking, they're industrious, they are not laid back. So if you bring them to a place where their hands and legs are tied to a geographical place that will emasculate and delimit their ability to express themselves either commercially, industrially, intellectually, it might end up in misery. The only way people can is if we allow problem, and then they are trying to kill you. Say, well, instead of killing me, let me go back to my home. That is the alternative. But that's for a short time, after which you find your way out again. So I hope that it doesn't get to that level, that anybody will threaten anybody to live somewhere. What we're saying is that Nigerians should live peaceably wherever they live according to the rules and the law, obey the custom, obey the system. And that's all. Maintain law and order wherever you live. Nobody should ask anybody to live anywhere if we belong to a country. We don't have it. And I've always said that there are miscreants everywhere. There are miscreants among all ethnic groups. So what we are failing to do in this country is that we're allowing miscreants, criminals to cause trouble. If people commit crime, whether they are Edo, Nupe, or they are Igbo, or Yoruba, or Hausa, or Fulani, they should be arrested and punished. And therefore you save this characterization that are going on now, Igbo robbers, Yoruba fanatics, Fulani. You know, it's even worse in our case where we're doing all this. To avert it, government has the forces of coercion, they have the forces of discipline. This is why the Constitution gives them power to arrest criminals. Let them arrest criminals. It's their failure to arrest criminals that is leading to this proliferation of unhappiness and making people now suspect each other and call them names.
Sir, do you think the failure on the part of your leaders to take decisive steps to protect the lives and property of their people is what has made Mazi Sam very, very relevant and popular? Because right now he is providing that alternative leadership that is glaringly lacking. Do you agree with that?
Why there is a vacuum, they say nature abhors vacuum. The primary responsibility of government is to provide safety of lives and property. Is the number one reason governments are set up. Protection of life and property. Any government that fails to protect life and property has failed. It's as simple as that. Before you are talking about economic well-being, before you're talking about other social indices, life protection. And that is what is currently being threatened beyond measure in our environment today. So I think that people have taken opportunity and have taken advantage. And you don't blame people. Nobody will put his hand and allow himself to be killed. Nobody will cross his hand and waiting for government that cannot save itself to come and save them. If the government cannot save you, people must seek how to save themselves. It is an inalienable personal right, self-defense. It's an inalienable personal right to defend yourself. So I believe that the likes of Nnamdi Kanu, who have taken opportunity to speak the language that the people want to hear, to show concern for their well-being and protection, it's no surprise that he has a very large following. And I'm sure any day the leadership of Nigeria begins to treat everybody well, begin to treat Igbo well, as he treats the Yoruba, as he treats the Hausa, as he treats the Fulani, as he treats the Efik, as he treats the Wira. People like Nnamdi Kanu will also begin to support that move. Because people don't go into opposition for the sake of opposition. They are going into opposition because they want the right things done. And when those right things begin to be done, I believe they will normally support the right things. Because my Bible says, woe to those who call good evil, and woe to those who call evil good. Evil is evil, good is good. And when you go from evil to do good, we shall say, this man used to do evil, is not doing good. But if you go from good to do evil, this guy used to be good, but he's not evil. That way you maintain balance.
Well, thank you for visiting me at the penthouse. What I intend doing, people have asked if I want to contest again, and I've told them no. I just want to keep doing what I know best, which is media.
Sure.
Is that we're going to be inviting people like yourselves, very knowledgeable, very experienced, you've made a very, very big success of your career as a pharmacist, rising to the top at Pfizer. And you have been in advocacy, you have been a man of God, and you have been a great patriotic Nigerian, someone who fought and survived the Civil War, the Nigerian Civil War. So I feel honored to meet you, and I hope that we can always call on you at any time when we need to ask some of these questions. Nigeria right now is at crossroads, and we need people of your experience to be able to educate us, because a lot of people are not even conversant with our history, the history of our country. And so I wish you well, and I wish you safe journey on all your travels.
Thank you so much, Dele.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a pleasure enjoying your hospitality and your warm welcome. I'd like to assure you that Nigerians have recognized your place in history as a man who speaks the truth to power. There are very few people. People are afraid either because their source of income will be cut, their source of privileges will be cut. Some are even afraid to die. I don't think that you're one of those. And I want to encourage you to know that you may not know, but there are a lot of people who admire you. They may not be on the Facebook with you, but a lot of Nigerians like people who have your courage. It's not courage for the sake of courage, but who speak the truth and who stand on what is right. God will reward you and protect you. Thank you for allowing me to invade your space this morning.
Thank you, Mazi. I really appreciate your visit.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Azu, thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, my dear friends, I'm sure somewhere along the line later today I'll be back doing what we know how to do. According to an advert by the British Telecom, it says it is good to talk. So we shall continue to talk. So stay tuned. God bless you. My friends on Facebook, in fact, you are too much. You are wonderful. We went above 1,000 at one stage. That's incredible for an interview that we did not even advertise at all. It was spontaneous. In fact, it was about living when I had a brainwave that I should talk to him, that he has too much experience. We shouldn't waste that opportunity. Thank you. God bless you all. Bye-bye. My friends on Instagram, thank you for joining me. Thank you.